is Melissa Rodriguez, and today I will be talking a little bit about Chapter 6 and Chapter 7 of the Power 7 book. So, in Chapter 6, we talk a little bit about hand movements and how it has to do with being a good communicator. So, according to the book, it is very different how one person views the other person based on the way their hands are placed. So, for example, in warmer climates, people are seen more friendlier, more warmer because they are more freely with their arm placements. While in places that are colder climates, such as let's say New York, people are seen more distant and more rude because they are used to having their arms crossed due to being cold. In my experience, I had the same situation that at times I am used to placing my arms crossed and people come up to me and ask me what's wrong, if I'm feeling sad or if I'm feeling some kind of being upset or if I'm a shy person. And while in other times people come up to me saying I look friendlier or I'm easier to talk to for the simple fact that my hands are placed more in a relaxed way and more open, freely way. So a lot of people place point of views depending on how your hand movements are, and they can see who you are as a communicator just because of your placement. So in order to be a good communicator, our hands has to have a good hand movement, but not a drastic one where we are seen as distracting the other person. So we also have to make sure that we're not super stiff and that we're not making any movements at all, because then we will look like we don't have any connection with the other person or that we're not trying to make a connection at all. While having our hands and having a little bit of movement once in a while, it helps to show that we are making a connection with them and that we are paying attention to them. So in my case, I always tend to try and pay attention to my hand movements and to not have them super stiff, but not to make super drastic motions where I am distracting the other person. Or as the professor has explained, how sometimes if you make too much emotion, too much movement with your hands, it looks like you are trying to be like a rapper where you're trying to show too much emotion at a time, and it does not look good whenever you're trying to have a conversation. Or if I'm having such a little movements where it looks like I'm petting a pet, it does look very awkward too. So I have to work very hard in those kind of movements because I am right now in a place where I try to make movements, but it's very hard for me to learn in what way to make it. So I am trying to get in control of my hand movements at the moment. So in Chapter 7, we talk more about voice, and even though it does not have to do with body language, it also has to be with being a good communicator. After all, voice is what you're trying to communicate, is what you actually want people to hear. So it is very important for people to understand what you're trying to say. So for your voice, you have to have a good speed rate. You have to make sure to lower your voice and have it at a place where you're comfortable enough and people can actually understand what you're trying to say. So in my case, or in the case of most women, we have our pitch very high due to having to be a woman. Our voices are more higher than the usual, and men's are more lower. So for us, we have to try and lower our voices just to a point where we're comfortable enough. But the main key is to not exactly lower it, but change and slow the pitch and the voice rate of our voice. So in my case, again, whenever I am giving a speech or whenever I am making a conversation with someone who intimidates me, my speed rate goes really fast and I talk really fast, and I cannot stop once I realize that I'm speaking very fast. So in order to be more better at my voice, I have to take control of my voice before beginning a conversation or beginning a speech. I have to practice a lot in being able to have a good speed rate so the other person can actually understand and listen to what I'm actually trying to say. Another thing with speed rate is also being able to have good enough pauses between your conversation so that it doesn't seem that you're just rushing for what you're trying to say, or that you're just trying to finish a conversation as fast as possible. So I have a lot of trouble sometimes doing that. I usually go on and go on speaking with the other person, and I don't realize that they're not even really paying attention anymore because I am going on and on about it. When in reality, having pauses between conversations or speeches helps the people understand and pay more attention to what I'm trying to say, because then they see that I am trying and that I am actually give it enough time for them to catch up to what I'm trying to communicate. So speed rate and pauses are very important in being a communicator, as well as having good hand placements. So therefore, chapter 6 and chapter 7 are very important in the 7 tenets of being a good communicator. Thank you.